Wouldn't it be absolutely stunning and brave if they made Samus from Metroid a trans woman? If they took this icon of women's representation in video games and turned her into a badass trans bounty hunter? Well, that's what gaming news outlets would like you to think, because we can't just live in objective reality anymore. No, we have to exist in clown world for some reason. So, a new article by The Gamer recently explored this apparently popular long-running fan theory that no one's ever heard of, and today we're going to read it together. But first, I want to try and explain why games journalism, and really just media abroad, seems to be populated by coneheads, because no one with actual roots to our human species would actually believe in things like this. You ever feel like something's off with the world, but you can't quite place your finger on it? You can feel it when you turn on the news. You feel it when you're checking out at the grocery store and everyone around you seems like an NPC. You feel it when you're at work, performing the same mundane task repeatedly as the days become weeks and the weeks become months. You start questioning the passage of time itself. Something is terribly wrong and you know it in your heart of hearts. But when you look around you, everything seems eerily quiet. Society isn't collapsing, buildings aren't burning to the ground around you. And if you dare question the narrative, you'll be shot down quickly and reminded that everything's fine, that you're looking for a boogeyman, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Give them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt. Just like the Romans were distracted by modern gladiator games. The Matrix was a documentary, The Truman Show is your bathroom mirror, and 1984 was a warning, not an instruction manual. Now, if you're still with me, you have two choices. You can either take the blue pill, go back to your mundane life, staring at your backlog for 15 minutes straight, before doom scrolling on social media and falling asleep with your headphones on to some podcast or something. Or you can take the red pill and go down a rabbit hole with me, because today we're talking about the absolute clown world that is the games industry. So a recent article from The Gamer here, and the headline reads, Baldur's Gate 3 actress wants Nintendo to canonize popular fan theory that Samus is a badass trans bounty hunter. Seriously, at what point do we start calling this predictive programming? When do we wake up and realize that this is social engineering? How many articles like this do you have to see before you're like, you know what? This might not just be rage bait. This might actually be some form of soft exposure. So anyways, for years now, popular fan theory is circulated on the internet speculating that in Metroid, Samus Aran is trans. These theories cite her size and build as key elements as to why she could be a trans woman, and fuel was only added to the fire in 2015 when Metroid's background designer Hirofumi Matsuoka, however the hell you say it, claimed in a derogatory way that Samus was trans. It's kind of wild thinking shit like this was happening a decade ago, but it really was. Back then, we didn't call it woke ideology, we used terms like social justice warriors, but it was all the same. They were literally trying to convince us that women with cybernetic limbs were fighting in World War II. Like, come the fuck on. I just think it's kind of hard to believe how long we've been living in clown world at this point. I'm gonna keep calling it that. Anyways, now speaking to us at The Gamer, actress Abigail Thorn has called on Nintendo to come out and tell us what we already know and confirms the long-running fan theory. I mean, just look at Samus right here. Look at her shoulder pads. You got the two morph balls and then you got the arm cannon, right? And maybe Abigail's right, guys. Maybe Samus does have a dick between her legs. After playing Metroid Prime Forspoken, I wouldn't be surprised. We spoke to Thorn last week as a part of a larger piece set to hit The Gamer in the future, but with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond in the public consciousness, the actress has her say on the series' protagonist. I still think Nintendo should come out and tell us what we already know, which is Samus is trans. which she says with a whatever the hell this is, smile and chuckle. People just think we misunderstood her character. They think that she's like this mother, and it's like, no, she's a badass trans bounty hunter from space, okay? She then moves on to talk about how good The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is, stating that it's great that Nintendo has given players control of the titular character before circling back to her previous point, interjecting also, Nintendo, call me if you make the Metroid movie. Listen, I'm sorry for making you suffer through this article with me. Trust me, these lobotomites are triggering even for me. And I've been covering this shit on my channel for a while now. This shouldn't even faze me. But anyways, while Thorn's comments were a little tongue-in-cheek, they're relevant to ongoing discussions about diversity and representation within the games industry. Yes, we're all familiar with gaming media's form of diversity. Every black person has to be a ridiculous caricature of being oppressed and fighting against racism. You know, you can't have anything like a complex backstory. You can't have things like family loyalty and honor woven into a character's narrative if they're black. No, it has to be white man bad. Just like how Samus now can't be a badass representation for women, she has to have a dick between her legs. After years in development hell, Metroid Prime 4 finally hit shelves this week, and while the reception has been solid, the game hasn't lived up to the acclaim of the original trilogy. Well, yeah, because you have characters like Miles chiming in every 5 minutes about how you haven't paid off your goddamn green crystal debt, corny millennial writing, fake out heroic sacrifices that end up having no emotional payoff, this silent character that just nods her head yes and no, while the Pokemon games are still using text dialogue. In what I would call a pretty decent Metroid game, if it wasn't buried under a fuck ton of padding and hand-holding that's insulting to my intelligence. Even brain-dead normies are speaking out against this bullshit. The reason why you scored beyond a 4 out of 5 is because you were paid to. Just like how you were paid to write this slop-ass article injected with trans ideology. It's like when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 released and the first thing IGN did was upload a video on how to gay romance. Because your mainstream media, your prostitutes of propaganda, they're paid to talk about topics like diversity and inclusion, stuff like our carbon footprint, child online safety, and digital ID, and whatever other political talking points that the left-right paradigm wants to use to brainwash society. Why do you think people like the reptile Peter Thiel of Palantir himself, the Lord of the Rings, was going on podcasts talking about the Antichrist and transhumanism? Why we don't want to just change what's between your legs. We want to change your body. We want to change your heart and your soul. It's because the elites of the world, they want to connect you to Neuralink, and stuff like transgenderism isn't some grassroots movement. It's to soften you up to the idea of becoming more than human. It's the ultimate 2 + 2 = 5. If you can get people to disregard something like basic human biology, you can convince the Gentile of anything. If you want to know why there's so much trans representation in media, why they're always going on about trans athletes competing in women's sports, why all the Tyler Robinsons of the world somehow have this trans spin on it, it's because they know it'll scare boomers into voting for more shit that transfers wealth to the elites. It was the same thing in 2020 when we were all getting paid to stay home. Who were the people that were most scared of getting sick? Think about it. Boomers. They hold most of the wealth. They have most of the voting power. They watch mainstream news. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, gauge the reaction, and offer a solution to the problem you created. Why do you think Charlie was speaking about this type of stuff on college campuses? Isn't it kind of funny that someone of his age demographic, major political influencer, would be taken out right after he was speaking about these same talking points? It's because they want to try and radicalize younger people like you and me to go out and vote away our rights. Thing is, we can't afford the bread in the circuses, so a lot of us are waking up to all of their bullshit. RAM prices are skyrocketing, Groceries are skyrocketing. Rent is skyrocketing. We can't afford the distractions. So a lot of us aren't falling for the left-right paradigm anymore. When we see shit like Samus is a badass trans bounty hunter, we can see the social engineering in plain English. Or at least I can. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll catch you in the next video. Later.